Hey Nigel, today we're going to talk about a very special animal. Any clue what it is?
Is it a fish?
Nope.
Is it like a crocodile?
Nope. Even better.
What is it then?
It's both. Year 2006, and a team of paleontologists led by Neil Shubin, Edward Deichler, and Faris Jenkins were up in the Canadian Arctic looking for the remains of an animal that is a cross between a fish and a
As they were digging, one of the lead paleontologists discovered what seemed to be a flat-headed fish, and to their astonishment, it was indeed the animal they were looking for, the Tiktaalik roseae.
The name Tiktaalik was an Inuktitut word for a freshwater fish in the area, while roseae came from one of the anonymous sponsors of the exploration. Upon carbon dating the fossil, they found out that this animal lived during the late Devonian period, which lasted from 417 million to 354 million years ago.
In this video, we will be running through some basic facts about the Tiktaalik roseae, some of its comparative anatomy, in order to tell us why it is considered as the intermediate for aquatic and terrestrial animals.
Tiktaalik was a special animal. Its fins had ray fins, but its fins also had bones that propped up its body like a four-legged animal, similar to the crocodile. Apart from this, the animal bears a lot of resemblance to both fish and crocodile alike, as it had wrist bones, neck, shoulders, just like the crocodile. But it also had scales and gills, which is similar to fishes. When the fins were opened, the Tiktaalik was found to have bones that corresponded to upper and lower arm bones of today's terrestrial animals. Even the skull of the Tiktaalik bears resemblance to both animals, as it had a conical head like the fishes at that time, but it was also flat, like the terrestrial animals in that period. Its discovery in Canadian Arctic was not by pure coincidence. Neil Shubin and other paleontologists had identified some areas in the map of North America that inhabit such an animal. These places must fit into the criteria that they had, which included rocks of the late Devonian era, location must be near ancient rivers and deltas. Discovery of Tiktaalik in an ancient river system signifies its transitional state from aquatic to terrestrial life. Just as what was mentioned earlier, Tiktaalik had flat head with dorsally placed eyes, a movable neck, some sturdy ribs, and a pectoral girdle and four fins that can do complex movement like propping up the body. This is similar to crocodiles today. However, it also bears resemblance to fishes as it had gills and a tail, which suggested that it was living on or near rivers. The discovery of Tiktaalik near an ancient river system in the Canadian Arctic led to conclude that the Tiktaalik developed these features to exploit the shallow waters for food or even shelter. Adding to this, the ribs of Tiktaalik are reminiscent of the ribs of land animals that allow a degree of thoracolumbar rigidity and axial support, something that fishes in a river would otherwise not have. Additionally, Tiktaalik shows the shift between the use of pharyngeal and opercular breathing, which most fishes normally do, and the reliance of buccal and costal pumping for breathing, something that tetrapods utilize. This conclusion is supported by the fact that the enlarged skull of the Tiktaalik, along with the expanded gular plates and brachial elements, and the loss of the operculum and a reduction of opercular apparatus, could support the unique breathing method of Tiktaalik at that time. The changes in the skull of Tiktaalik is associated with some unique patterns of locomotion, primarily for feeding. The loss of the opercular, subopercular, and extrascapular series of bones separated the head from the pectoral girdle, giving the animal a movable neck. This gave more space for movement for the pectoral girdles and fins. Wide scapulocoracoid, extensive endochondral skeleton, and reduced lepidopterygia of the pectoral fins suggests a strong and flexible appendage capable of complex movements across a surface.
Portions of the Tiktaalik's pectoral and pelvic girdles, it was revealed that its pelvic girdle is indeed smaller than its pectoral girdle, similar to sarcopterygians, but not by much. In fact, its proportions seem to be more tetrapod-like than fish-like. This points to the evolution of the tetrapod pelvic girdle that would eventually support the hind limbs and pelvic girdle appendage locomotion. Comparative morphological comparisons of Tiktaalik specimens that have been found reveal a lot about how life may have transitioned from fish to tetrapods. Upon comparative analysis of the proportions of the Tiktaalik spectral and pelvic girdles, it was revealed that its pelvic girdle is indeed smaller than its spectral girdle, similar to sarcopterygians, but not by much. In fact, its proportions seem to be more tetrapod-like than fish-like. This points to the evolution of the tetrapod pelvic girdle that would eventually support the hind limbs and pelvic appendage locomotion. The anatomy and physiology of the Tiktaalik reveal the transition states of tetrapod features and give clues as to how early tetrapods made the transition from primarily aquatic living to terrestrial living.
The discovery of Tiktaalik is more than just the discovery of an intermediate between aquatic and terrestrial life. Along with the combination of the scientific methods involved, its discovery allowed us to see how life progressed in general, as the Tiktaalik demarcates an important step in the transition and evolution of life.
And that's it for the Tiktaalik, the fishapod. Thanks for watching.